Hey, shalom everyone. I really hope everyone had a wonderful Sukkot. I hope all of the fall festivals and high holy days were just spectacular for everyone. I know for me, this has been the best high holy days of the fall that I've ever had. The most fulfilling, the most profitable, the most blessed. It's just been awesome. And even though Sukkot is over and even Simchat Torah is over, I'm in my sukkah. It's kind of like, people who keep up their Christmas trees after Christmas. I keep my sukkah up for a little bit after Sukkot is over, partially because I got to wait for a good weather and a good day off to be able to take the sukkah down. But the reason that I'm making this video is usually every Yom Teruah, every Rosh Hashanah, I usually make a video about what to expect in the new Hebraic year, the new Jewish year. And I can't remember if I did one last year or not. I maybe haven't done one for a while. But it seems like each year the Lord really speaks to me and kind of gives me a heads up on what the coming year is going to be like. And I don't know if it's going to be the same for all believers or if it's mostly just me, but when I've done these videos in the past, a lot of people's been able to relate to it. And they say, yeah, I'm feeling that too. So for the Hebraic year 5778 and for the remainder of 2017 into 2018 on the Gregorian calendar, I just really feel that this coming year, like in the last couple years, I've really stressed that the Lord's wanting us to get back to basics. That's been the theme of the last several years, if I'm not mistaken, is just getting back to the basics, getting back to the simplicity, cutting off and cutting out all the excess and things like that. And so now I'm really feeling the way that the Spirit is operating and the way the Spirit is moving is that this year I really feel like the Lord is saying, work with what you have. You know, we live in this Western society that every time a new stinking iPhone comes out, everybody thinks they have to have the brand spanking new one the very day it comes out. And they're out there at midnight waiting for the clock to turn so that the Apple store can open up and they can be the first one ever to get the new iPhone or whatever. So it's like we're always having to have the most up-to-date, the most latest, the most greatest, the most tech-filled, this, that, or the other. And I feel like the Spirit is saying, be happy with what you have, work with what you have. You're richer than you think. You're more equipped and provided for than you think. So don't look at what you don't have and don't look at what you think you need. Look at what you have. I'm speaking of your possessions, your physical possessions. I'm speaking of your gifts. I'm speaking of your talents. I'm speaking of all the things, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Be happy with what you have. Look at what you have because you have more in your inventory, more in your reservoir than you really think. You don't need as much as you think you do. You don't need some of the things that you think you need. As I was saying during Yom Teruah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, how I feel like the Lord is stripping me, how He's renovating me, how He's gutting me and flipping me like a house. I think that theme is being carried on into this new year where it's time, spiritually it's time for renovations. Spiritually, it's time for upgrade. It's not for new, fancy, flashy bells and whistles and all the extras. It's not about that. It's not time for that. This season has nothing to do with that. But what this season does have to do with, it's time to appreciate what you have, time to work with what you have, time to renovate what you have and make what you already have the best that it could be. Sometimes we have stuff in our physical life that's old and we want to throw it away and get something brand new, when all we have to do is just knock the dust off of it, polish it up a little bit, put a little oil on it, and it's as good as new. We don't need something new. It just looks old and tired because we've neglected it. We haven't taken care of it. That's the same thing with our lives, with our physical, mental, and spiritual possessions and gifts. We think, oh, we need something new. We need that latest spiritual fix. We need that latest spiritual high. We need, we need this from the Spirit. We need this from God. We need this. No, you've already got what you need. You already have what God wants you to have for right now. You've got to learn to appreciate what you have, and you've got to learn to take care of what you have, maintain what you have, make what you have work, make what you have better. Somebody told me a long time ago, why buy a Cadillac when all you need is a Chevette? Why have a big fancy car when all you need is a car to get you to point A to point B? We don't need all this fancy stuff like we think we do. That's just the Western mindset in society, thinking we have to have the biggest and baddest and latest and greatest. You'd be surprised how many miles you can get out of what you already have, the spiritual gifts that God has already given you, the things that God has already given you, and appreciate what you have. Spruce them up, renovate them, knock the dust off of them, polish them up. That's what God wants us to do with our physical, mental, and spiritual gifts and possessions. That's what He wants us to do this year. Is it's still kind of the same thing of getting back to the basics, but with getting back to the basics is basically purging your life of all the stuff that you don't need and looking at what you do have, appreciating what you do have, and working with it, running with it, making what you have the very best that you can. It's like what God told me during, right prior to Yom Kippur. He said, all this stuff that you've pumped out, all these books and these teachings and these videos, all this stuff that you've pumped out, it's crap. Why? Because I pushed it out. I rushed it out. I didn't stop and take my time and really make it the best that it can be. So you know what? I have this library, this reservoir of tons and tons of teachings, of writings, of essays, of articles, of books. And God wasn't saying that it's all crap that you should just toss it and start over. He's just saying that you didn't make it the best that you can be. So I've got all that I need right here, right now. So what God is calling me to do and wanting me to do is go back to the stuff I've already produced, go back to the stuff that I've already made, go to the stuff that I've already pumped out and worked on and studied, and just revise it, refine it, edit it, polish it up, make it better, make maybe a few additions and cut off a few things that didn't need to be in there and put in a few things that do, and just take what I have and just make it the very best that I can. And then just reissue it, recycle it, reduce, reuse, recycle. That's the new age environmental mantra, but it works spiritually for what we're going through right now. It works for right now. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce, cut out all the crap in your life, the extra stuff that's weighing you down that you think you need but you really don't. Get back to basics. Reuse, just appreciate what you have and just reuse it. And recycle. Just take what you've already got, what you've already put out. See if you can't improve on it. See if you can't make it better. Okay, let's go back to the iPhone example. When a new iPhone comes out, they just don't take the old iPhone and scrap it and just start from scratch. They build on what they already had, and they make what they already had better. And that's what I think God is wanting us to do. Look at what you have. Look at what you've spiritually birthed, what you've spiritually produced, what the Lord is giving you. Just refine it, knock the dust off of it, polish it up, edit it, revise it, refine it, remodel it, rejuvenate it, renovate it, flip it, and do it all for the glory of God. I think that's where we failed a lot. Is it says, whatever we do, whether we eat or drink, whatsoever we do all to the glory of God. And do everything as if we're doing it unto the Lord. And sometimes I think because we live in a Western society and everything has to happen right now, and we have to do things right now, and we have to be first at everything, that we just put stuff out, pump stuff out really quickly, and we don't really wait until it's mature, till it's ripe, till it's the very best that it can possibly be. We just want to put something out just so we have something. But I think God is just wanting us to take what we already have and just nurture it, mature it. Think of what you have is like wine. Once you start pressing the grapes, you just don't pump it out. All you get is Welch's grape juice. And that's, it's okay, but it's not like wine. You have to age wine. You have to let it sit and mature. So take what you have and let it mature, let it age. Let what you have physically, mentally, and spiritually as gifts and talents and possessions, and just make them the best and most mature and most profitable and beefy and sustainable and weighty and rich as you possibly can. So that's what's in store for 5778 2018. Love you guys, and shalom and shavuot tov.